Everybody, welcome to your Rangers review post-match reaction video after a dismal night in Bergen for Rangers losing 3-0 to SK Brann to leave the Ibrox club rooted to the bottom of the Europa League group stage, 36th out of 36 teams. It really was a pitiful display from Rangers in what was Danny Röhl's first game in charge. Rangers falling behind to a 40th minute goal from Emil Kornvig, who latched home at the back post after really poor Rangers marking. James Tavernier nowhere to be seen. The boy made inroads down his right-hand side. The shot found its way to the back post, and there was Kornvig to slide in. Jacob Sorensen added the second with an in-swinging free kick. He got almost his shoulder onto it, got the better of Magoma to score Brann's second 10 minutes after half-time. And then Noah Holm added the third on 79 minutes. Again, poor defending as far as Rangers are concerned. A Rangers team who offered very little in an attacking sense, and at the back, shambolic, as we have seen so often this season. I don't know where to start with that. Jonny, again, same old problems affecting Rangers. It will be interesting to hear what Danny Röhl has to say about that, but it's fair to say he has got one hell of a job in his hands.
Well, we knew Danny Röhl had sorry, I need to get used to that, had a really tough gig. But I think tonight proves that maybe it's even harder than we thought, because there's always the feeling that Russell Martin had overcomplicated things to such a scale that the players just weren't capable of performing. They were just so confused. I think tonight some of the core issues remain, don't they? And that's with the manager that's clearly gone out and completely simplified it for them. You saw from the first minute, Rangers were putting the ball into Rosed. They were lumping it forward. The minute the ball came to a centre-back, if they were under any kind of pressure, it wasn't the Russell Martin tippy-tappy, knock it about, and maybe we'll be okay. It was Rosed stuff, which was good to see. It was a sign of a manager that had gone back to basics. But there was so much wrong with that game, Derek. There was so many problems, so lacking in dig and desire and grit. And I think it's hard to really say where Rangers go from here. You know, you've got a manager that's going to have to get down to work with these guys. He can't go out there and make signings. Although, let me tell you, Derek, if I'm Danny Röhl, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to find out who's available in terms of free transfers. Because this squad is so poor. I think if you can get anyone in that gives you at least even a short-term boost, short-term experience in key areas, you go and do that. And listen, this is panic station stuff, but you go into the transfer market and you have a look at who's available on free transfers. You know, there is some quality there. There's no doubt going to be issues with injury, issues with getting them fit, getting them right, a wee bit of time without playing, no pre-season. But there's players there, Derek, that I think you could go and try and bring in and give you at least some opportunity to get to the transfer window less scathed than it seems like they're going to be. This Rangers team at the moment, it just looks like exactly what it is, I suppose. A 6th place in the Scottish Premiership side. Abysmal.
Yeah, a rabble. John Maguire says, my son is available. He's 13. I'm sure he's not any worse. Yeah, I'm sure he's not any worse than what we've had to endure. The issue for me is on recruitment again and on Kevin Thelwell. Danny Röhl, incidentally, as I mentioned, it will be interesting to hear what he had to say. When he started at Sheffield Wednesday, he lost his opening 5 from 6, the first 5 of 6 games. He won 1 game. So it's not going to be an easy fix, I don't think. And like you, Jonny, getting to January is one thing, but if there are free agents out there, I said this when the window shut, incidentally, there were a number of free agents, left-back free agents that that Rangers should be looking to bring in, because I thought that was an utter disgrace why the Rangers never addressed that in the summertime. And it was telling that Andrew Kavanagh mentioned that in the press conference the other day as well. I don't think he was best pleased.
The sooner Dujon Sterling gets fit, Dujon Sterling goes straight in that team as left back. I know people in the comments will give me the rage reply of he's never fit and blah, blah, blah. I know that. But Dujon Sterling walks into this team right now and he walks in at left back.
Yep. Why they allowed 3 players to leave and brought in an academy graduate at Brentford just defies belief. But again, Kevin Thewolf may has underestimated what is required at Rangers and the players that Rangers need to represent in this club. But Ali mentioned it again on commentary. They said they look like wee boys out there, and you can't disagree with them. Again,
I mean, Ali's been utterly scathing. He's holding back. You can tell in commentary, but he's also signalling very, very strongly around key issues with recruitment. Charmiti he was tearing his hair out at, and it's not hard to see why. I thought he was dreadful again tonight.
Let's start with him then, because we were told Kevin Thewell defended his signing the other day there, saying he's proven that he's shown the ability to score goals. I'm not entirely sure where he's scoring those goals, but the fact is the fact. Rangers should not have been shelling out that amount of money for a project player. I've seen nothing to suggest that he's able to lead the line for Rangers at this point. I actually made a comment during the game. I think Rangers, and I'm being deadly serious here, I'd be thinking about loaning him to one of the clubs they have a partnership with, just to try and get him up to speed with what it takes to play as a centre forward, because it looks like a competition winner at the moment, Jonny. And I don't think that's been unfair. I had big opportunities tonight. A header, a player, even that you look at Cyril Dessers last season, I think Cyril Dessers would have scored that. I think an overweight Alfredo Morelos would have scored that. He doesn't have any killer instinct at this point in time. The ball across the face in the first half from Oliver Antman, you're crying out for your striker to latch onto that, and that's a certain goal as well. But he just doesn't have it at this point in time. And I don't want to see him leading the line for Rangers if he's not up to it. And he's so far below the standard that is required, it defies belief for me.
Yeah, he's a massive, massive gamble and a project player. To spend that level of money in context of what Rangers have spent, even under this regime, I don't understand the thought process behind it. I think there was discussion about, and this is second-hand discussion, but in the fan media briefing, several fan media outlets have talked about that they put it to Andrew Kavanagh and the management team. Look, why wasn't Czerny someone they looked at? And there was a suggestion that Czerny would have cost so much money in terms of a big transfer fee, I think £6 or £7 million, and then £3 million a year or something like that to bring him in to the club. And I think those figures are public. It's well known that Czerny was on a very, very good salary. Now, the position of the board and the club was that, if you put him on a 4-year contract at 28, there's no return on investment there. But what you do get is you get a very, very, very good player who guarantees you a high level of performance for 4 years, at least. And you look at these players that are in now, and gamble after gamble after gamble. I mean, you look at someone like Tello Asgard, clearly a talented boy. Derek, there's no doubt, a talented boy. A good touch, good physicality. You saw the goal that he scored against at the weekend against Dundee United. Wonderful finish. He's got something about him. But he's just one of these players that disappears.
Anonymous.
He keeps doing it. He disappears down a trapdoor for 25 minutes in a game, and you're like, where's he gone? And you just can't do that. I mean, this is not a club you can do that at. And too many of them like that. Rothwell, another one, does some very good things, moves the ball quickly at times. You think, really good touch, technically very good, but just doesn't seem to like the dirty stuff. And this is a guy who spent a lot of his career in the Championship. You'd have thought that he would be absolutely eating up the prospect of a game where it's all about the second balls, and he just looks completely uncomfortable in that scenario. And I don't know what's going on, because everyone I spoke to who watched the English Championship told me Rothwell's a good player, by the way. He's a right good player. Yeah. But no sign of it. No sign of it from him. Asgard, so fleeting. Ant-Man, I thought, did the odd good thing tonight, but lots of things as well where you're just not sure why he's made that decision. And, Danny Rowell, this is not on him. That's the key thing, Derek. It's absolutely not on the manager. And I don't think you can give him any criticism or negativity. I think he's handled himself well to this point. He needs to go away and have a right good look at his players over the next couple of days. He'll learn more. The game at the weekend, that's going to be a right tough one against Kilmarnock, by the way.
They're all tough.
And, try and get a tune out of these players. I've been chatting away with a few friends there in my WhatsApp groups while the game was ongoing. Derek, we were kind of discussing it as well. I think Rangers need to go back three. And you can come back at me on this because I know you disagree, but I just look at it and say, this is a team that has got defenders that just can't seem to get it together. Doesn't matter what combination of them.
I don't rate any of them, Jonny. I think Rangers need a whole new backline in January, an entire backline, right back, left back, 2 centre backs.
Well, they've been very, very, very poor so far.
Yeah.
And I think you get 3 in there and you just try and get bodies in and solidify. I don't have another solution for you, Derek. What he's dealing with, Danny Rule, he's dealing with imperfect scenarios. There's no good option, so you need to make one option. And I think a back 3 with a tough tackling, hard-working midfield 3, 2 wing-backs who can sit back into the defence in the games where Rangers have got it tough, or 2 wingers at home against teams that you've got the onus to go out and beat. At least gives you 2 strikers up front. At least gives you something different for teams to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will make any difference, but I think it's got to be tried. I look at the squad and think it's the only thing that I can think of, Derek, that will try and get a tune out of what's there.
Yeah.
But by God, I can't. I mean, you tear your hair out thinking £35 million or something in that region, and we'll find out a little bit more in terms of what was actually brought in from the sales of Hefty and Yilmaz and Igaman. But if you bear in mind that the net spend was 20 million and there was a significant income from those players, then the net spend, the overall spend must be something like 36, 37 million, somewhere in that kind of ballpark.
Yeah, they've squandered so much money. I really can't get my head around the transfer dealings in the summer. It's clear, it was obvious. And again, Andrew Kavanagh referenced it in that press conference. They never brought in enough leaders, which again is a failing on Kevin Thelwell. Rangers are not a development club. The club needs to win every single week. I don't think he understands that. He's brought in, again, just kids. I think James Tavernier sort of referenced it. Jack Buckland, of course, recently referenced it as well, saying he doesn't know what's going through half the players' heads at times. The experienced pros, you can tell that they're getting frustrated by the players round about them. The results show that it's been nowhere near good enough. Pedro says that pre-match excitement dissipated fairly rapidly, Derek. I was feeling quietly optimistic ahead of the game. I don't know. That quickly eroded, that's for sure. The point here, just on the recruitment, Fraser Hopkins saying only Gassama is any good. I think certainly left wing, that is an area that Rangers have strengthened, but elsewhere they have regressed.
I wouldn't get too carried away about Gassama either. I've got to be honest. I mean, he's been good. But it's in comparison with how rotten the rest of them have been that people are giving Gassama the big licks. I think in most other seasons you would say, yeah, he's been sort of 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give him much more than that. It's not the second coming of Brian Laudrup, that's for sure.
No, I'm just trying to cling on to something positive here. But on the other flank, of course, Colin Dodds with the point, Antman never goes to the byline to cross. Yeah, that really infuriates me. He loves coming inside, doesn't he? The one that had the most assists in the Eredivisie last season, I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, he looked decent against Pilsen, of course. Since then, he looks devoid of confidence. Although he did well for Finland during the international break, got man of the match in one of their games as well. But that was another performance from him. You're thinking, again, Rangers have spent a good bit of money on this lad, and we're not really seeing enough from him at this point either. He also raises a point, Colin. What's your thoughts on John Souttar's performance this season? Not good enough for me. I think he's going through the motions. We know he's in the final year of his deal. It doesn't look like he's going to get a new deal, Jonny. I'm quite relaxed at that. I don't think he deserves one based on how he's playing at this moment in time.
No, unfortunately, I mean, I'm a big believer in Rangers having a Scottish identity, and I want John Souttar to go well because of that, to do well because of that. And unfortunately, he is not leading. I've already said on here, I thought his press conference was poor the other week. Body language was all over the place, and he didn't look like a guy that you would be hanging your hat on to lead a group of guys. That's for sure, out into battle. He looks fed up, and maybe that's understandable. The pressure that he's under, the horrible way this season has gone, the horrible way it's gone for Rangers since he arrived. Let's be honest, because correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, but I think he came in that season after the run to Seville. So you think it's been very, very, very mixed since then, to say the least. And yeah, I don't think he's got himself into a place where he's really earning a new deal. I've always felt with John Souttar that he's a player that is a number 4. If you've got your 2 first choice centre halves, and he's your sort of 3rd or 4th choice that comes in for games in Scotland to relieve the 2 that are your main guys. So if you're playing a home game against a bottom 6 side, then John Souttar's a guy you can bring in. But I don't think John Souttar, with the mistakes in him that he has, can possibly be a defensive leader. And that's where he is at the moment. He's got young guys alongside him. And one thing I would say about Thelwell, and I'm not defending him, but I'm just want to make it clear, you know, it's Thelwell and Martin that you have to also put the blame at his door. I don't think Magoma is a Thelwell signing. That's a Martin signing. Martin had him. It
should have been Magoma and someone else, though.
Sorry?
It should have been Magoma and someone else.
Absolutely. But the point I'm making is the way Rangers do their transfers, the manager has the final say. There's players in that group that he's brought in that's been managers led. There is no doubt about that in my mind. Aarons, for example, who's absolutely nowhere, 100% manager led, he knew the player. Same with Rothwell, manager led, he knew the player. So I think absolutely you need to look at this squad and just say this is absolutely part of what has been a catastrophic decision to appoint Russell Martin in the first place. And now Kevin Thelwell is absolutely in the firing line over it. Yeah. And these guys better get up to speed quickly, and especially Chermiti, because he's backed himself in that presser. He really, really doubled down, didn't he? He said, look, this guy's going to come good. He needs time. He's a young man. He's only 21. There's people in the comments saying he's 24. He's not. He's 21. He's not 22 until May. I just checked. And he needs to get up to speed and used to this team and used to this football. And Danny Roll's going to have to really get in and about him, because there were several times there, and McCoy's made the point, he lacks the killer instinct, Derek. He's not making the... He's actually pointing to the back post. He's saying to Oliver Antman, put that on the back post. And Antman delivers a perfect ball.
Yeah, I know.
But he's just not made the run. He's asked for it, but he's almost checked the run. It's bonkers. That can only be down to lack of confidence, because he's physically telling him what to do. And it was the correct thing to say. He's just not ready. He's just not ready at the moment in this team, surrounded by the players in that squad, and it's going to come back to haunt the management team. There's no doubt about that.
He must have looked sensational at Sporting Lisbon for Kevin Thelwell to not only bring him to Everton for over 11.5 million quid, I think they paid for him initially, and then to fork out another 10 million for him. It just beggars belief. It really does. I can't, and I'm not alone in this. Many others just can't see what he's got that means that he leads the line for Rangers. He's just so far below the standard. It's unreal. Neil McLean with the point says, Teller looked like an amateur. Chermiti looked like a poor defender playing at number 9. Just on Asgard, incidentally, I've said this in videos before. Know a number of people that watched him a lot at Wigan. I've seen him at Wigan a few times. And the criticism, speaking to people down there, was he looks good when you're cruising in games, but when you need him in the trenches, he can go missing, and we're seeing that at Rangers. That was my big concern, whether he can really come to Rangers and excel and be the man. He's not been the man, and we need a lot more from him. Just on Antman, this point here says, Jonny will look good at right wing against it.
Not sure I have the pace anymore, pal.
But I was thinking to myself, watching that game tonight, how on earth have Rangers managed to put out Panathinaikos and Pilsen in those Champions League qualifiers? Really
caught them
is
cold, mate. Absolutely caught them cold. That's all it was.
Yeah.
A lot of luck and catching them cold.
Yeah. They must have been really poor. And Colin with the point just into the back line, missing Goldson, never been replaced, and missing Balogun too. Those two walk into the team right now, John.
Absolutely. You know, I was always a big Goldson defender. I'm a big Tavernier defender, and people don't like it. I don't think he's covered himself in glory tonight. He's still probably Rangers' second best player, best outfield player this season.
Yeah,
still scoring goals. Connor Goldson was unfortunate in that I think it just got to the stage where people were wanting a change of scenery. But when you change the menu, sometimes the food gets worse. And as you say, Derek, I don't think there's been a defender fit to lace his boots since he left. And it's not easy to get guys that are capable of dealing under the spotlight that you're under here. And I think that's a main issue. But to allow a situation where your back four has 3 players that are on loan, your first choice back four, and that is very, very much on Russell Martin. As I say, Magoma and Aarons were players absolutely he wanted. Just follow the line in their careers. Listen to what Russell Martin said when they were brought in. Cornelius, I don't know where that came from. I thought he looked good in the first couple of games. Giga looked really good in the first few games.
I wouldn't mind him playing left back, to be honest. He looked all right enough.
Yeah, he looked better at left back, I think. And for me, if you're going to play a back four, I'd play Cornelius ahead of Magoma. I think Magoma's a tidy young player, and if he was Rangers player, you would say, yeah, he's got a decent enough future, and he's making mistakes, but he's young enough. But as I said with Mikey Moore, when Rangers signed Mikey Moore, and I shook my head, and I got a lot of stick in the comments about it, Derek, when I just said, look, we've seen these young guys coming in before. We've seen mega talents. Amad Diallo, £30 million player, came up here. It just didn't fit the demands that were on him. You need men. That's why Rangers have such a poor record in developing youth players, because this is no environment for kids.
No,
it's a hard place, and we all know that. And you know, I don't say this lightly, Derek. You know, I think I was pretty critical of Barry Ferguson last season. I didn't think he improved things from under Philip Clement. In fact, I think probably in the league, the data would suggest that actually things got worse, certainly defensively. But I don't have any doubt, no doubt whatsoever, that Rangers would have been in a much, much better place with Barry Ferguson and his management team, because you saw the type of players they were going to bring in. They were going to bring in the right kind of players. He said that he would have brought in Cherny, absolutely. Certainly would have looked at Sima, no doubt about that. He would have looked at Scott McKenna. He would have looked. Shanklin would have been brought in, no doubt about that. Alex Gogic was another one. Not saying that Alex Gogic is going to come in and play every week, but, you know, Walter Smith was a master at bringing in these type of players who would not only weaken the opposition that you're playing against, but improve the overall squad for when you have games where you need to bring in players because you've had injuries or there's things that have gone wrong and the squad needs to be mixed up a little bit. I think Barry would have done a much better job than what we've seen. We've got a coach now that can come in, and he is a guy that has got real chops on the grass. There's no doubt about it. This is not Russell Martin, who was at MK Dons, Swansea and Southampton, and this kind of almost snuck in the back door. This is a guy who's been at Germany, been at Bayern Munich, been at Leipzig, been in the Premier League with Southampton. So, you know, someone that has all those experiences added together as a coach. And I think on the grass, that means he should be able to come up with something more cohesive than what Russell Martin put together.
He needs a lot of time and a very good transfer window in January. it's a bit of a free hit for him at this point in time for me, because it's
so difficult to get players in January, though, Derek. So difficult to get good players. I think it's expensive if you want players out, because, you know, say you go to Hearts and you.
Well, who's going to buy? Who's going to buy any of the Rangers players?
Well, that's it. Someone said to me, you know, I don't think there's going to be that much money available, so you're going to have to get rid of some of Thelwell's dross. That was the point that was made to me. I said, well, who's buying them? Who's
for a start? For a start, I'd be inquiring whether there's loan recalls in January, and I'd be tempted. Well, I'd be looking to send every single one of them back. Apart from Cornelius, I'd keep him as a loan with an option to buy, an option to buy, isn't it? In the summer, I'd be keeping him around, but the rest of them can go. I think they've all been poor.
It's quite challenging, Derek, because normally there would be a bunch of players in the league, Scottish League, that you can say, well, you cherry pick him and you cherry pick him and cherry pick him, and that'll at least get you to a level where you're competitive for second. Because let me tell you, as I've been saying, Rangers on it's not happening this season. I'm sorry to break the news. It's not happening. But there's those players. I don't see them. The guys that you can cherry pick out of other clubs and they know the club. It's really, really, really difficult. But I look at Celtic's lineup tonight. I don't know how they're going to get on. Obviously, Aberdeen have been absolutely hammered out in Greece. 6-0 by AEK Athens. Rangers have been hammered by a team that, as recently as last season, would have comfortably dispatched. It's a really challenging time for Scottish football. But I look at Celtic's lineup, and you know, the players that they have there. There's Callum McGregor, and there's and that's it. That's the only Scotsman in their lineup. And I think they're going to have the same problem this season that Rangers have been having. There's just not enough identity in their team.
Yeah. And
that's why I think Celtic and Rangers are struggling to such an extent. They're absolutely filled with the players that just don't really understand what these clubs are all about. And you know, if you're a fan and you're expecting Rangers to go out on the pitch and bleed for the jersey and bleed for the fans, why are you expecting that off Tello Asgard? You know, a kind of Scouse Norwegian who
I know
who's coming here for a couple of years to make the next big move up.
Yeah.
You know, like this is part of the problem. Is like this sort of, I've said it before, this desire to be a Brentford or a Brighton with Rangers. It's just a flawed idea.
There's not enough bears in the dressing room. There's not enough Rangers fans in the dressing room for me either. And it's good that Danny Rose looking to bring in a Rangers related coach. I think that's a good thing. But for me, player wise, there's not enough guys out there that would, to quote the famous Neil Warnock, that would that would die out there for 3 points. For me, I just don't see it.
Look, John Brown was the kind of player that the modern young Rangers fan would be sniffing at and would say he's nowhere near good enough. And John Brown was absolutely fantastic for Rangers, and he raised his levels. And it was actually it was a disgrace that John Brown was never properly. I don't think, was he capped at all? Did he get one cap?
No, he never got capped at all.
Never got capped at all. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable, given how good a defender he was.
Yeah,
siege defender in particular. But those kind of players, those ones that hold the dressing room together, that let people understand what it's all about, you need some of those in there. Derek, I don't want to get anachronistic and go back and always revert back to the kind of the days when Rangers were successful, but this is real. It's a thing. You need 6 or 7 players who in a 24-man squad who understand what it's about.
Yep.
Where's the identity of this club coming from? If it's not there, then you know it's going to be challenging. And to talk about bringing that in via the youth setup is not right, because these guys are the guys that need to lead the other ones.
Yeah.
So
it's a major
a lot of
concern.
mistakes being made on that front about identity.
Yeah, it's a major concern. And again, I've said this before, I just do not trust the football department as it is to rectify mistakes that have been made in the summer in January. I just don't have any belief that they're able to do that. I get what they came out and Thelwell himself came out and said the only thing he sort of didn't get that surprised him perhaps is just the magnitude and the size of Rangers. Yeah,
because Everton's a big club. Everton is, in terms of like the history of English football,
oh no, it's huge.
Has always been a big club, and but he knows now that the level of scrutiny that he'll come under from the media and from fans at Rangers just is a different world. I remember Walter Smith was talking about this and saying that he would go down to down south and was the manager of Everton. As you know, by the time that he got out of his first presser, where there's obviously a lot of people there, second presser, it's the Liverpool Echo, it's someone from the Daily Mirror, you know, and it's someone from the Sun or whatever. There's 3 guys there, and he's used to having 20 guys there from Rangers. It's just not the same thing, and I think he's got to be a really, 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 really fast learner, or he's in deep trouble. Because I just don't see where the good players are in this squad that are going to drag you through. Like, look at this game at the weekend, Derek. You look at this game. Do you have confidence that, because you know exactly how Kilmarnock are going to play?
Well, you've got Kilmarnock and you've got Hibs.
Kelwell is a clever guy, a good coach, and he'll look at Rangers and go, I'll eat this up all day long.
Jonny, the next 10 days is massive. You've got Hibs at the weekend, Kilmarnock at the weekend, Hibs in midweek, and you've got the semi-final a week on Sunday. Incidentally, the semi-final, I think, will take care of itself. Celtic are in no great shape themselves, but I can't see Rangers winning the next 2 league games at this point in time. I just don't see it in them at this point. Hence why, like you, forget about title races and probably forget about second place at this point in time. I don't see them going on a sustained run. They've won once, and we're almost in November. So until he needs to get to January, Danny Rule, he needs to be able to have a big say in players that come in, and then he just needs to get on the training pitch and get to work, really. But there's not going to be any quick fix. I've just been told that some crats have scored.
I did say it. It's the same thing.
So there you go. Celtic, have they lost their opening 2? They got a draw, didn't they, away at Red Star? Yeah. So, yeah. Incidentally, Chris posted up a video at the end of the game of Danny Rule heading over to the away end, and his name was chanted as he headed back across the pitch. So the Rangers fans certainly showing their support for the new head coach.
I think if you can get a hairy-arsed English defender or any defender who is capable of coming up and dealing with the rough stuff.
I'm not being funny, but I get pelters for saying it in the past. Rocky Bashiri types, even somebody like that.
But you can't get Rocky Bashiri right now. I mean, I know what you mean, but what we're talking about is it's October 23rd, and the transfer window doesn't open until 1st of January. So we're talking two and a bit months that Rangers have got to go with this squad. I mean, Sterling will come back in. I think everyone agrees if Sterling stays fit, right, good player. You know, we'll improve this team. But staying fit's another thing entirely. And who else is there? Rabbi Matondo? I mean, it's becoming darkly comic. You're laughing because what else can you do?
Forgot all about him till you mentioned him. I'm just having a quick look here, just on defenders, free agents, just to give us an idea. Centre backs. See who is available at this point in time. This is the sort of the state of play that we're in at this point. Jason Denayer is available, former Celtic.
30 years old. I mean, Belgian international, played in Scotland before. Okay, it was at Celtic. He was on loan when he was a kid. I don't think that's. I don't think that would be a terrible shout. There's a few
Craig
other
Dawson,
ones.
35. Very asked centre back Jonny. Craig Dawson, 35 now.
That's the one that I actually sent that to Adam earlier on. Obviously, he spent a lot of time in the Premier League. Is not a silky player by any means. I don't think he's brilliant, but would he be better than what Rangers have? Yes.
Wouldn't be any worse.
So if he's fit, you know, someone to look at.
Yeah. Something Hugo Bear gets in touch, incidentally. He says Canarius at left centre back. Enciala, there's a player I've not heard for a while. Enciala, I've seen him actually in the training video that Rangers posted the other day. Back involved, so that is another player that might be involved. And another surprise, perhaps, is a miraculous return from injury of Emmanuel Fernandez, who was on the bench tonight. So perhaps he could be an option for Danny Rule moving forward. But yeah. It's clutching at straws here at the moment as to how Rangers improve from this point. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. Feel like the old Mick McCarthy.
It can.
But hard to take. Like I say, Chris is at that press conference with Danny Rule. I think he has just conducted said presser. So that should be on the YouTube channel very
I
shortly.
hope Danny Rule's not made the same mistake that Russell Martin did and slaughtered them. Because let's be honest, they downed tools the minute that happened, or certainly they didn't recover from it. So I would advise him to try and be political and do the best that he possibly can with them until he can get some more players in January. Because these guys, I don't think they take well to public criticism. We've already seen an example of that. And let's be honest here, Derek. Rangers need to get some results. I mean, seriously, Europe, it's the least of Rangers' kind of worries right now. There's embarrassment to this level of poor performance, but this is a team that's sitting 6th in a poor league. And 9 points, Hearts on 22. If Hearts win, they're going to go 8 points clear of Celtic. I think Hearts will win at the weekend, by the way. I'm not convinced Rangers will beat Kilmarnock. I know it's a home game, but say Hearts win and Rangers draw, that would be 15 points. And I mean, 15 points is 15 points. It's a lot.
Yeah, we're playing for 3rd place
right now. Yeah, that's the reality.
Yeah,
it's the grim reality that Rangers are facing. And no one would have thought when the 49ers and Andrew Kavanagh took over that there would be this level of incompetence in the window. I mean, it's remarkable. I genuinely believe, Derek, right now, on the evidence we've seen right now, this is the worst transfer window I've ever seen from a Rangers at Rangers. Can you think of a worse one than this?
2014-15 was bad this summer. When I think that's when Boydie came back, and
I know, but yeah, that was a bad one.
A really bad season, wasn't it? That was culminated in the Bilal Mosney and Lee Irwin incident at the end of that Motherwell game. That was a terrible season.
Let's take that period. The
That's
gas period out.
I don't know who would win out of that team and this team, I've got to say.
I wouldn't want to pay to watch.
No. But it's really bad. BB1872 gets in touch. He says Pilsner 1-0 up against Roma. Football, it's a funny old game, isn't it? So there you go. Incidentally, just on Danny Rule, I was told, speaking to some folk that encountered him down at Sheffield Wednesday, is he doesn't try and pull the wool over your eyes. He'll be honest in his reflection of games. If the performance is crap, he'll say it's crap. So hopefully,
Eric, I think one thing that he needs to do. I don't know if you agree or not. Give me your position on this. I think Rangers fans will maybe have to just get used to, for a 2 or 3 games. Well, I suppose with the games coming up, you'd probably say 2 games. You have to get used to the notion of maybe a slightly shot shy Rangers, because I think the absolute imperative right now is to get Rangers stable at the back.
Yes.
Whether that's through formation, whether it's through personnel, what he has to do right away is to stop this back 4, or if it's a back 5, a back 5, being so porous and so easily sliced open. And if that means there's a couple of draws where the attacking side of the game looks even worse than it does right now, I think so be it. Rangers need to have a foundation to build on, and every good team, the foundation is the back. And it's going to be a big ask, because with those players, that's going to be hard. But you'll have to find some sort of balance.
24 games now, I think, away games without a clean sheet. And that record was broken, which dated back to the Victorian times. So tells you how bad the back line has been. I'm with you. Yeah, successful teams are built on strong foundations at the back, and that is glaringly obvious that Rangers need personnel in there. Like I said earlier on, a whole new backline is required. Sort of feel sorry for Jack Butland, I've got to say, because he's probably one of the Rangers' probably best player this season. And if it wasn't for him, it would have been even worse than what it's been. Which tells you
the one coach that has done his job this summer at Rangers and this season at Rangers is the goalkeeping coach Sal Bibo. Or Bibble. I don't quite know how to pronounce that, so I'm kind of making it up as I go along. He has definitely got a turn out of Jack Butland, and again, he made a couple of decent saves tonight. Don't think he had any chance with the goals, to be honest. But he has been put in a position where I think Jack Butland is quite comfortable in that he's a guy that is good at shot stopping. He's good when he's under pressure. I think Jack Butland, what he was getting used to at times previously with the Rangers, is this idea of you have to be aware of the situation unfolding where you have one shot to deal with in a whole game.
Yeah.
That was the thing that Andy Gorham always used to talk about, wasn't it? It was having that concentration to be ready for the moment or the two moments where you were going to be tested.
Yeah.
But he's the one guy that you would say definitely you can't criticise him. Even the moments where you could criticise him, I don't think there was anything glaring. The only other guy that I would say is I would give pass marks to is Tavernier, and that's because of his goals. He's scored a few. I think, was it 4 or 5 now? Sama, yes, as well. Actually, I would add him into that. But outside of that, really, really, really difficult. Raskin, Derek, I've been saying this. This is now the second time I've been quite critical of Raskin, and I just have to say again, he is far better than he's shown at the moment. Far better. He's been so poor, erratic, positionally, lack of discipline in that central midfield, leaving, I think, gaps in there. And maybe he's trying to do too much. Maybe because he is a good player and he knows he's a top guy in that dressing room, he's trying to be everywhere. But the best thing he could do at the moment is show some maturity, show some discipline, and almost sit back there and try and help his defenders, help his teammates.
Yeah.
And he can do that. Derek, one thing that Raskin can do is he can mop up second balls. He's good at that. So go in and do that. Help your teammates out. He's not where he should be for a guy that's a Belgian international who has showed before that when he's on his game, he's probably the top midfielder in Scotland when he's on his game right now. I think he showed in the last 3 or 4 Old Firm games that he's got Callum McGregor's number, that he's got those other guys at Celtic's number when it's a sort of battle. I think you can put a tenner down on him to be in that fray and feel confident that he's going to win the moments that count, but not at the moment. Not at the moment. And Danny Rawls got a major job to do.
You're getting a bit of stick about Tav. Andy McMaster says you can't give Tav pass marks for goals. How many we conceded because he's not in position? Well, certainly was at fault, certainly for the
I don't know, I don't know. It depends on what he's been asked to do. You notice Magoma was also in front of the defenders in that sort of half-space position.
Yeah.
But it depends on if Danny Rawls asking him to do that or not, and then what's expected of the midfielders and dropping back. You remember, people would criticise Tavernier under Steven Gerrard for not being in that space when he'd bombed on. But Steven Gerrard had a very clever positional structure in which it was Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara that would, with real iron discipline, drop in and cover.
Yeah.
And I think tonight it was maybe an example of just not quite having Danny Rule having the time to just get all these elements right. But I have to hold my hands up and say also to the guy that's made the comment, that ball has happened quite a few times this season.
Well,
in between Suter and Tavernier. There's no doubt about it. But I'm always going to be a guy that's going to defend James Tavernier because I think he never hides. He always turns up in moments, and there's a lot of them that don't do that. And the guy is 34 on Halloween.
It's incredible, though. I mean, Philip Clement was trying to phase him out last season. You remember, I think Chris went away on the pre-season camp and he says he won't play as many games because he's been playing too many games. He's getting older. And I think he played probably more than anyone last season in the end. And he's played pretty much every single game. Once the Max Aarons experiment was binned pretty early on, he's been ever present.
Just ask yourself this, and this is what I always say when I meet Tav critics and they pick me up on it. I always say, put James Tavernier in any of the good Rangers teams. How does he do? How does he do?
Well,
he
does
a lot more
medals. Yeah,
we know that.
A lot more medals, put it that way. Yep. Right, we'll wrap up there, folks. The Danny Rule press conference, incidentally, is on our YouTube channel now, so you can go and watch that. It's been a pleasure having you all tuning in for this, despite Rangers' dreadful display over in Norway. A really poor showing, leaves them rooted to the bottom of the Europa League. There are a number of games, of course, taking place at the moment. I'm not too sure if there's anyone else as bad as Rangers right now that can... overtake, that can slump to the bottom, and Rangers can perhaps move up a position, but that's sugarcoating it. I think Europa League progression is pretty much canned for the season, certainly given some of the tests that are coming up. You look at that down the years, that the 3 matches to open up the group stage, and you'd be banking on probably at least 7 points from those 3 games. Yeah, so far off it, Rangers this season. Right, we will be back. Well, myself, Blair, and perhaps Chris. Chris is flying back home early tomorrow morning, but he should be in Oslo Airport by the time we go live at 9:30. So we're hoping to get Chris on, who had the misfortune of being in the Brann Stadium tonight.
I feel for Chris and the fans, especially the fans, because they're having to pay. Chris isn't having to pay.
It's a lot of money to get there.
It's a lot of money to get there. It's a lot of money when you're there. And, you know, the good thing about away trips as a fan, Derek, as you know, because you've gone on a few of them, is that you can always drown your sorrows if things go wrong. But drowning your sorrows in Norway at £10 or £15 a pint or whatever it is, it's not the right. It's not the right environment for it.
Yeah, absolutely not. Right, folks. Sweet dreams, if you can. Hopefully, you don't have nightmares after watching that earlier. And we'll speak to you tomorrow morning, 9:30 as ever. We'll see you all then. Bye for now.